Hello, hello. We're so excited to be sharing our 2024 convention recap, and a bunch of us were there together. And so you're going to be hearing from a lot of us of what our highlights were, of what was really something that you hadn't expected, maybe. And then at the very end, we're going to talk a little bit about your return on investment. It's an investment to make the decision to go to convention, and it's also an investment in yourself, being that you want to grow. And that is why companies do conventions, right? They know the power of getting people together in a large place, pointing them together into a similar vision casting way of where the company is going, what the value is in that, and all those things. And so we are going to do a recap a little bit about each day. And so if we're like kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit, that's kind of how the days went. But I really think that we should start with what our opening session, or the first day actually, was, and just the heart of Plexus. And so I feel like each one of us said, oh man, we didn't know that we were supposed to bring boxes of Kleenex, because we had just been bawling through that session, right? And so Alec and Tarl have consistently been our vision casters for where Plexus is going. And if you think about from 2008 until now, there's been some bumps in the road. There's been some things in the world that have really, been stumbling blocks for other companies. And a lot of other companies simply don't exist anymore because they didn't make it through some of those things, right? And just all in all, Plexus has been so consistent with who they are, with what their vision is, where they are taking us. Every year since 2015, I have sat in convention, aside from the COVID years where we didn't have in person, but still the message has been the same. Plexus will be a household name. It is for everybody. It is for families. It is for you to come and grow. It is for community, for culture. We are the OG of gut health. And so I think over this last year, we've really seen that come to life. We have the patent on the Slim. We have many copycatters, which is a compliment. And so, quick little story. Apparently, one time someone had found a copycat version of the triplex in a Walmart store on the shelf. So someone out there is creating something to look like our triplex and obviously sell for far less. And Alec had told that person, take a picture, I'm putting it on my wall. That's the biggest compliment that you can get. If you are being copycatted, it means that you are trending. It means that people want what you have. And so we're very relevant. Aside from that, the heart of Tarl and Plexus, Tarl and Alec, and now Jean as well, has always been the people. It's always been about the people. They could have gotten like so many investors, and apparently they get offered investors all the time, that people want to come and buy shares into their company and then take them fast to bigger places. And they have consistently said, we are remaining private. We are not getting investors. We are growing with our people in the field. And as you can see, that is still where we're going, and we are still growing. And so that is a little bit about the vision of Plexus and why they do things the way that they do. I know one time several years ago, pre-COVID, there was a little bit of a talk of bringing hemp products into Plexus, and a company that is being run by, if you don't know, Jen Hawkins. Jen Hawkins is Celeste Gwen's sponsor, and a company is being run by her family. It's called Charlotte's Web, and they were potentially looking to partner with Plexus. And right before that all was to be solidified, Plexus pulled out and said, I'm sorry, we're not keeping our word to our people. We are not going to be investing into this market. We will be staying true to who we are. We stayed the gut health company. To this day, I'm still grateful for that, because guess what? hemp and any products of that line are still not approved in the USA. And so that would have gone nowhere. Not that they knew, right? But that would have gone nowhere. Sheila, do you want to add something to that about the vision?
I think the biggest thing for me is that they are true to their word. And very often you can you hear big things from people, right? Like they'll tell you all, and we've had this in previous careers that Kev's been in and things like that. They'll tell you all the big fancy things, but the proof is in the pudding. And that is one thing that Plexus has done. And having been here for the last decade, I can say over and over and over again, they keep their word. They keep their word. If they're going to do something, if they say they're going to do something, they will do it. And they'll usually do it better than what they say they will do it. Their whole motto of if it's, it has to be good for corporate and for the field. We're the field. And if it's not good for both, then they're not going to do it. They're not going to do something where just corporate benefits and the field doesn't. It always has to be both, always. And they have always kept their word on that.
It's so important. Okay. I mean, like, let's tell the people a little bit about this boy, this autistic boy, Cody, and his mom's name was Tina. They were on, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't watch these shows. I had seen clips of them. America's Got Talent. Yeah. That was fabulous. That little clip that Jean showed. And if you haven't seen it, just put a bug in your ear. You can go and you'll find it on TikTok. You'll find it online, whatever. But just go
Did you
watch that.
quickly want to show it?
What's that?
Did you quickly want to show it?
I don't have it.
It's 5 minutes. I have it.
Okay. Okay. If we have time, let's show it at the end.
Okay.
Because it's really worth it. Okay. So, and the next thing that I was going to plug in here was there's an award that they do every year called the One Plexus Award. And always two candidates are chosen for this award. Every year it is someone that has gone over and above to embody the One Plexus mantra. Now, what is the One Plexus mantra, right? This is someone who helps people way over and above of what their actual team is. They bring value to the company. They give support to people who are aside, sidelines and working together with headquarters, even in order to bring good value and basically uphold Plexus's name, right? One Plexus just basically means that we do not compete internally against anyone. We work together. And I mean, like, a rising tide lifts all boats. That's kind of the embodiment of One Plexus. And so two people are usually chosen for this award. And it's always someone who has come through usually a pretty big story. So if you don't know who Celeste Gwen is, go look her up. She is the very top earner of Plexus. She was originally approached by her friend Jen Hawkins for, I don't know, gosh, I think 9 months or something. And she brought all her people who were interested in Plexus, she brought them all back to Jen saying, oh, I don't want to do something like that. Jen can have it. And then when she finally realized what Plexus is and what it was, she joined, and she is a 15-star diamond, which means she has 15 separate legs with a jewel in the first top 3 levels. Crazy, crazy. So when we build wide in Plexus, the wider you build, the wider your paycheck gets. That's kind of the theory behind developing a lot of legs with jewels in the top levels, right? And Celeste has been, she grew up in the missionary field with her dad being a huge part of bringing welds to Africa. Long story short, you can see these recaps in the convention recap plays when they come back. But long story short, Celeste was one of the honorees of winning this award. And they brought her elderly, gosh, I want to say he was 89. I thought I heard his age. Correct me if I'm wrong. They brought her family together, surprised her. She had no idea they were all there, and they brought her elderly father. And then they played a whole bunch of the efforts that she has been involved in Africa in bringing water and food and sustainability to these poverty communities just because that was her father's dream, and she stepped into those footsteps when he no longer could. And because of Plexus, she was able to do that. And so they have invested so much into this organization, and it was just an incredible story to see. And then the other recipient was Gianna Hooten. And if you remember, I want to say it was 2017, right, Sheila? Super Saturday 2017, we were all at different locations doing Super Saturday. And at that time, it was still, the Diamonds would travel to a lot of different locations and do the presenting of Super Saturday. It wasn't like it is now. It was like a really big deal. And usually every room had like, you know, a couple hundred people. So we were, I believe, in Edmonton, and we had several Diamonds there presenting for us. And then a message came back that Gianna Hooten, who was presenting somewhere else in the US, her daughter had been in an ATV accident and was killed. And it was, yeah, it was very traumatic. It was very rocking to the whole Plexus world, because everyone knew Gianna, everyone, like, it was a really big deal. After that, she was diagnosed with cancer, and just her story just kind of felt like it kept getting harder, but she rose from the ashes. She said, this will not be just for me. And she used that tragedy and that trauma to help others around her. And so we had a lot of snotty noses and a lot of cried over faces by the time these awards were done. And it's just so very, it's so touching to see your company embody this human relationship aspect and make it so important in our business. So many corporate companies are going to tell you to leave your home life at home when you come to work and focus on just making sure that you have the right mindset to build and do the job that you're supposed to do there, right? Whereas Plexus brings us in with our families and lives it with us. So that was extremely heartwarming to me. I've gotten to know Gianna over the years, and just to see that she has been, you know, honored like that was extremely touching, very touching. All right, anything else that you want to add on day one there, Sheila?
I feel like day one was like showing us the heart of who Plexus was.
Mm.
Just like very much focusing on our foundation. Everything else can come from that. The fact that we are so connected as a community, the fact that we're one Plexus, and most other companies, and I can't say this for certain, but just from what I've seen and what I've heard from other people, is they don't have that extreme connection where you cry for somebody else's team, where you are literally so invested in somebody else's story and they have nothing to do with you. There is no competition. That's how I felt like day one was. And it just kind of built the foundation for the rest of the days.
Yes, it totally did. Set the tone.
Yeah.
It was so good. Okay, if I'm not in correct order, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just kind of put our outline together based upon memory. Day two, we had breakout session topics, and each one of us went two different ones, or we went rank based and then the breakout sessions. And so we have Slim, Sweet Tea, and Restore. Holly, do you want to share a little bit on that?
Before day
Okay.
two was the rank-based ones. Day three was the breakout sessions.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with the Slim Sweet Tea. That was day two, wasn't it? Pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, or day one. I don't know. I can't remember the whole week. The whole week was just a whirlwind. It's like I couldn't tell you what happened on what day. I just know that I was there, and I'm still processing all of this. So yeah, Sweet Tea Slim. So excited that this is back. So excited. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I still have probably 10 bags downstairs. It's like I hoarded that stuff. So now I don't have to hoard anymore. I can just enjoy it whenever I want. So it's like all the benefits are pretty well the same. It's just sweet tea flavor. So you got the MBA, which has got the microbiome activating. It's got the XOS in it. It's like wake up those microbes, get them all fed with all the good stuff. And then the hunger control. So that's going to have the polydextrose in it. So that's going to help make you feel a little full, help prevent you from overeating. You want to eat that or drink that about half an hour before you're eating. Really, nothing really changed in that. You know, not all pink drinks are pink apparently. So everybody get yourself some sweet tea. Add a little active or hydrate to it. Delicious. The one that everybody is excited about though is the Restore, because I don't know, some of you have probably had it before. It is in the reset box. It was the final product. It was Jessica Hogan Norton's favorite product. So, you know, it's it's the good stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna go a little bit more into that because now it's a standalone product and we can have it every day. I'm trying to work that into my regimen and consistency. We're trying, but you can drink it warm or cold. So it's like you can have a little tea before bed or, just on some ice. Both are delicious. So I'll go through this here. So the key benefits of the Restore, it helps your liver cleanse fat soluble heavy metals, which can negatively impact your metabolism. So when the liver has over 500 functions in the body. So it's like, we really want to take care of that. So there's antioxidants that help protect cells as they detonate. What? I don't know. Electrons neutralize free radicals, preventing them from harming cellular components. Formulated with digestive support in mind. This is Plexus. We're all about the good stuff. And so you just have a more comfortable cleansing experience. Then it supports weight loss with ingredients that work through the gut-brain axis, right? Because it's like they talk to each other. So it's like we've got two different kinds of hormones. There's ghrelin, which is, it's like a gremlin. It's just going to keep telling you that you're hungry. And then there's leptin. So leptin is the hormone that helps you keep or feel full. So yeah, and it's like in the reset, we'd only get one. That's just to help detox and cleanse. If you were using it as a weight control support, you can drink it 2 times a day because of that appetite suppressant. We'll get into that. It's going to help you just want to eat less as well. But some of the features of the Restore is the cellular detox blend. That's a combination of spinach, spirulina, and aloe vera. That's helping to support our liver function, works at a cellular level to help just the detoxification process. Sorry, my cat's being something. So then there's also a digestion support blend, a blend of ginger root and peppermint just to help our digestive issues because, detox isn't always fun. And the appetite control blend, and that's got hibiscus flower, yeast hydrolysate, magnolia bark, and berberine. And those are the ones that help with the gut-brain axis to make you feel full and not want to eat anymore. So yeah, super excited about it. Like I said, I'm trying to work that into my nightly routine. It's 2 out of 3 days. I'm calling that a win. So
love it. Love it. I'm very, very excited about this product. I was fortunate enough to be a product tester for I think I got my bag mid to end of April, and then I used it for a month. It was a 1-month supply. And my life has been kind of chaotic, and we're not going to even use the word routine, but I love the fact that once you have established your supplements, like I feel like the world could turn pretty much upside down and I would not forget to take my capsules before bed. Like it's just been established to be such a constant, even through travel, through all the things that you do. Once you have established the fact that this is what I do before bed, then that's just what you do. And so I made sure to have my Restore warm before bed. And yes, Holly, I always tease Jess about her favorite. Her and Judith say the same thing. We're always like, it's favorite. No, it's not. To them, it's favorite. Anyhow, but it just, at the time, I was just taking it for the sake of taking it because I knew I was a tester, and I'm like, I'm going to start paying attention once I've taken it a little bit more because we were so very busy. And all of a sudden I realized, like, yes, we had been working very hard, but I basically fell asleep like that. just like out like a light. Okay, so I hadn't been sleeping as well for a little while. So that was a huge bonus. And then if you are having the joys of what I am going through, since my surgery last year, I was bumped into some perimenopause symptoms. And if you know anything about progesterone and estrogen and how your hormones start fading away a little bit when you hit the 40s, coming into the 50s, your progesterone is probably going to be higher than your estrogen, but your body is making more estrogen. It just doesn't know what to do with it anymore. Guess where it gets stored? In your liver. It gets tucked away because your body doesn't know where to put it, right? And so this was super informative to me to think of, oh, it's actually going to help perimenopause and menopause symptoms because it's filtering the liver out and cleaning it out and not letting those excess hormones to stay there, right? So I'm very excited to be sharing a little bit more on that and expand on that part a little bit more. All right.
So one note, I put it in the chat, but I've been reading lots about the Restore today and what everybody's saying and everybody's doing. And I heard it mentioned today that if you want it for weight loss, drink it before a meal. But if you want it to detox, drink it before bed. And so lots of people are doing like 1 scoop before a meal during the day and then 1 at bedtime. Or if they're doing 2 scoops, if they want just weight loss because of the appetite suppressant. And when you take it, your liver does a lot of work when you sleep. So if you want it for detox, it's best to take it before you go to sleep when you have nothing else in your gut, right? And so it's kind of like the ease when you take it is what it's going to focus on, which I thought was very cool. And you can take 2, like Holly said, 2 scoops a day. So
Yeah.
my last 3 nights of sleep have been fantastic.
Okay, so I heard
Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, good. I heard interesting details. A few of my friends at convention said, I was up spot on at 3 o'clock. Guess what your body does from about midnight, sometimes 1 o'clock to about 3 or 4 a.m. That's your body's timeline of massive detoxification. So if you wake up during that time, it means that your detox process is happening and it's actually, you know, removing your body from your REM sleep, which is your deepest part of sleep. It means that a lot is going on. It means that it's really working. So I was excited to hear that as well. We could go on, but let's move on. It's an excellent product. You guys are going to be amazed at what you're going to see it happen, it doing, and stories that are coming. The Iron Cowboy. Wow. Does anybody have something that they just want to share off the top of their heads about this guy?
I just watched the so it's on Amazon Prime. If you have Prime, it's free. And it's only 77 minutes. And basically it just kind of goes through his journey of how exactly he did everything and calculated everything through 50 Ironmans in 50 states in 50 days. Like, and it's just, it very much explains like his mindset, his wife's mindset, the people that he was working with, and how they coached him through how to do these hard things. Like quitting was not an option. And they would say, okay, like, are you ready to call it good? And he's like, no. And he's just laying, like he's laying there and you think you're gonna die. But he's like, no, it's not an option. And his daughter, who I think was 12 at the time, just kept reminding him, like, you cannot lay down right now. Like, Dad, you cannot lay down. So anyway, I just thought it was so amazing that his family had so much buy-in as well, and his kids knew that quitting was not an option. And I just think, like, how much do our families have buy-in of us, right? Quitting is not an option, but you can do hard things, and just commitment is the first level.
It was almost unthinkable that a human body could go through that. I mean, like they showed pictures of his toes and he had gone into full body spasms that they couldn't even stop. And just the amount of pain, it just shows the resilience of the mindset. As soon as his what was that saying? Like, I would really love to have my notebook, but I don't. What was that saying that he said? If your why is big enough, the how won't matter, right? And then you could see him process through that with a broken back. I know, right? Like, there was so many incidences in his journey in those 50 days that would have caused any person to say, I'm done, I can't do this, I quit, I'm dying, you know. But the why was so strong that he knew the how. It didn't matter. It did not matter. The why mattered, right? And just extremely relevant to our journey of growing in Plexus and wanting to grow, and that growth will be hard. We can expect hard. That when it does get hard, we don't pull the plug. We actually say, oh, this is the next lesson. What am I supposed to learn here? Right? Because the hard can make us, you know, pull away or remove ourselves from our community that is actually there the most to support us. And so if you have not seen it, I want to go watch it on Prime yet and make sure that I get the whole.
Me and
Like-
Pamela ran into him in the hallway, and it was actually neat. I don't know, Pamela lives in a place with internet that's crazy, so I don't know if that's why her picture's not on, but if you want to chime in, Pamela, do that. But as we were chatting with the daughter that talked to him on the phone was with him in the hall, like she came to the convention with him. And so we were almost more excited to talk to her. And as I was talking to her, I was just thinking, like, he was the heartbeat. There was that one moment that he was going to quit. And we don't know how it ended. And we don't want to give spoiler alerts to those who haven't seen the talk from convention or Prime. Like, watch the Amazon Prime thing, but the talk from convention is really good too. I don't know if he covers the same stuff, right? But there's this pivotal moment. And it's like, if his daughter hadn't gotten on the phone and said what he said, he would have quit. And what would that have looked like? After he quit, would he have picked himself up? And we don't know, but I don't think so. And so when you're at that pivotal moment, remind yourself the promise to never quit on a bad day. And if you quit at those pivotal moments, you're not going to get back up. But if you just keep going that extra mile, that one more day, all of a sudden you're going to be on the other side. And you can't really explain it until you hear him. But it was meeting her for me was actually just amazing. So it was very cool.
That's incredible. Imagine the lessons his kids took from that, right? Must have been amazing. I love what Brittany said there about the bully. Life is about winning those moments where the bully in your head tells you that you can't, but you do it anyway. And I love how he termed it his bully, right? Life is about winning the moments when you get a visit from the bully in your mind. Yes. Amazing story. Amazing story. All right, moving on. Paige, you're going to talk to us a little bit about Brittany and Christina did a breakout session. And as always, they delivered massively. So do you want to share a little bit on that?
For sure. So Brittany and Christina, they are like power partners, I guess, right? I don't know if you
upline,
have
downline.
listened. Yeah, upline, downline. Right. So Christina, I believe, is Brittany's downline.
Yeah.
Level 1. And they work so phenomenally well together. And if you've listened to Brittany's podcast, I would say even the last 5 episodes of Brittany Howard's podcast is what she has shared, like bit in chunks here and there throughout what they presented together on stage. And it was awesome. So I would say if you did go back and if you have been following or listening to Brittany's podcast, a lot of the content that they covered together came from there. And I only know that because I listen to Brittany in the mornings. She's just in my ear all the time. But what they did share is I printed this out and I'm just a second. They had and it's on the Plexus Go app, is 3 different things. Well, a few different things, but 3 huge things. You can't maybe see it, but a confident guide to mastering prospect conversations. So prospect meaning health. And then a mastering guide or your guide to mastering business conversations. And the cool thing about this is like real life examples. Like she said this, somebody liked my post, so I said this. And then there's just so much like that, like honest to goodness, go in the Plexus Go app, but it's like, here's an example and here's an example. Like there's so much value there where, you know, I think we all have gotten into our heads at one point or another where, I mean, I did it today. Like, what do I say if, well, there's an example for that. And so I haven't combed through all of it in detail. And a lot of their examples are so like, yes, they come from a very normal human, just like us, thank goodness. But you can tweak them to sound exactly like you, right? I think it's a very good rough skeleton of even just getting started. Because sometimes we get so hung up in our heads where it's like, well, I don't even know what to say. What do I say to someone who liked my post? I don't know. But there's so many different things. It's like this gal liked my post. This gal I see every single day. Or this gal is somebody who's a complete stranger on the internet. But there's just so much value. And if I could recommend, Brittany brought up, I think it was the 4 C's, and I can't remember. I think it's in her latest podcast. And they just left my head at the moment. But I know capacity and capability were 2 of them. Anyway, there's 2 others, and I'm screwing it up. Sorry, friends. But it's really good. Go listen to Brittany Howard, and you will get, I'd say, the last 5 episodes of hers, and you will get the bulk of what her and Christina covered. And then if you go into the Plexus Go app, download this, print it off, and this is kind of like your dummy proof workbook in a sense, like follow for more, right?
Commitment, courage, capabilities, and confidence. Kelly got it before I did.
Perfect.
She has the exact same tool, but as for doing business conversations. And so that was another piece of building a jewel business is comprised of 4 things. And so their whole topic was building a jewel business. And so a lot of these were dropped in the app. And I think the location has changed, so I'm not going to go and speculate on where it is. You'll find it. It's there. But the value of what they gave is excellent. And like Paige said, the bones of it was attached. I have serious sunshine because I don't have blinds yet. Just in a very simplistic manner, because we do get in our heads, because we do tell ourselves that we don't know what to do. We, you know, 4 of the things that she said was what you believe and the skills that you have, the systems you have in place, and the work that you do are basically the 4 foundational things that you need to build a jewel business. So what do you believe? And what skills do you have? What systems do you have in place? And the work that you're actually doing is what's going to be building it. And they gave you all the tools to plug into each one of those pieces. So start with your belief. Those tools are in the Go app, and I hope to be sharing them to the team page. It's always a little bit tricky to share PDFs, but I'll see what we can do with that. Okay. Yes, there's a worksheet as well, the business conversations and the customer care conversations. Sheila, do you want to tell us a little bit about 10x versus 2x? And why is this concept taking hold for so many of us?
Well, I had never heard of 10x before the last couple months. Quite a few of the leaders have been talking about the book 10x is easier than 2x. Before this, I had never heard of it before. And so I was telling Kev that I was telling him about all of the stuff I had learned and about 10x, and he's like, everybody talks about 10x. And I was like, not in my world, they don't. And he's like, in every business, this, that, every investor, he's very into investing and stuff like that. He's like, they all talk about 10x. And I was like, well, then why did you never tell me about it? Because this is cool stuff. Before this, it didn't make sense in my head. how can 2x is when you do twice as much of something, you get twice as much in return, right? You put in double the amount of effort, which means more of your time, more of your energy, more of your everything for a little bit more of a return. The idea behind 10x is that when you make your goal 10 times bigger than what your original goal was, it's actually easier than just doubling it. Because it causes you, when your goal is this big, it causes you to narrow your focus like this. And you do less of everything else and only focus on actually what moves the needle forward. When your goal is this big, you have to narrow it down so much to being like, and I've been making lists, it's like 10x, 2x. What things in my life are 2x things and what things in my life are 10x things? So how Jessica explained it is she said, the 10x things in your life, recruiting, retention, duplication. Those are your 10x things. Everything else, 2x. If somebody else in your life can do it 80% as well as you, let them do it. AKA my kids folding the laundry. Let them do it. It doesn't matter how it looks. Those are all separating the 2x things from the 10x things so that you actually end up doing less and gaining more. So I have quite a long drive home and I was driving by myself, which I do not enjoy. But this time it was very good because I had 7 hours to myself to listen to 10x is easier than 2x. And I made it through 4 hours before I got to no service and my phone decided that no, I have not downloaded the book, even though yes, I did download the book, which was very disappointing because I could have kept listening. I was invested. He explained it in such a conversational manner in this book, how 10x works, how to make it happen, and how it actually takes less of you than 2x does. It really does. And before I couldn't comprehend it, but now it makes sense. And it really makes sense. So I would encourage you, if you are looking to really level up in your business, that is a book to read. And I do also hope that Plexus will bring out all of these sessions so that we can listen to them again, because Jessica was fantastic. And she is truly an example of what 10x is easier than 2x looks like. She has she's living it. And she was talking about how since she has implemented this, she has had a new fast start gold, I think the last 3 or 4 months in a row. Level 1.
Senior gold.
Senior and gold.
Gold and golds.
Level 1 in the last 3 to 4 months. That is incredible. That is incredible. And that is good. The book is called 10x is easier than 2x. And it is very, very good. A large part of it is actually just conversational. Very good. Very good. I think that was one of my favorite sessions. The author, my goodness. It's let me see.
You'll find it on Amazon. It's a super hot buy right now, so it'll pop out.
Yeah, it's very, Dan Sullivan is one of the world's leading business coaches, and he's on it. And then Dr. Benjamin Hardy is the one who actually wrote the book using Dan Sullivan's teachings.
So she had us do some exercises. Shelly was in there too. Shelly, you can share your piece on this as well. She had us do some exercises. First of all, write down, what did she do first? The ABCs? Write them down as fast as you can.
First, you wrote down all your ABCs in one row and then 1 to 26 in the next row.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy peasy. So what was it? 13 seconds. Somebody got it?
People did it super fast.
They did it super fast, way faster than I ever could. And then she's like, okay, now you write A1, B2.
Wait, there was one piece missing. How many of you here multitask? How many of us think that we can do 2 things at once, 3 things at once? We run to the kitchen, we stir the pot, we quickly change the laundry in the washer, we run back to our computer, we answer a message, and then we take the kid to the bathroom, and then we fold a couple of sheets because they're done. Okay. Now, what if we stopped and said, oh, we're just going to do this together? So she had us do A1, B2, C3. I got to maybe F or G, and I was, what number am I? And I was like counting on my fingers, counting in my brain. I was totally derailed and confused. Her point being, do one thing at a time and do it well, and you will be so much faster. I had never heard multitasking explained in that manner. Shelley, I want to hear your piece on this.
I did the A1 thing fairly fast, but I ended on Y and 29. So I don't think I did it well. I was like, okay, well, that's wrong. I didn't read the book. So the thing that stood out to me was typically when you do, like, I have a history of brain and behavior from my counseling days, right? So that's kind of how I'm wired. And typically when people set goals too big, they can't achieve them. And 10X blows that out of the water because what it says is your goal should be so big that you know you cannot do it. Like it needs to be that big because what happens then, well, if you don't quit, what happens is you're like, I can't do this. And then it forces you to level up. And we're all hiding, like she didn't say this, but the way I thought of it is we're like all hiding our superhero inside, right? Like we're all Peter Parkers and we got Superman inside. And it literally forces you. And so she's like, how you do this is normalize feeling dumb and realize that your 10X vision should scare you, but it causes you to elevate your identity. It causes you to be someone, if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, but I actually don't have a clue how, that's actually a good thing. As long as you take the next step of, okay, how am I going to get there? Who am I going to talk to? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And so that was the piece that for me that I think was really, really good because I think a lot of people be like, well, that's impossible. That's the point. But if you think it's impossible and you get stuck in your head, you're going to quit. So the point is don't quit, just figure out, you know, how you're going to get there. So I'm excited to read the book too. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's move on. Bridget Kroll, sweet friend of mine, and Brenda Martin are two diamonds. Interesting fact, Bridget is Brenda's level 7 diamond, and there is no working people in between them. So never ignore who happens to show up in your downline. That could be your next diamond. These two moms are very efficient homemakers. They are very successful in their businesses, and they did a breakout session on motherhood and building your business. And so Sheila, Paige, and Penny, who else was in there? Quick
I think
share.
Brittany was there. Yeah, there was
Okay.
Barb was there. We had a lot of, we had a decent sized group in that one.
Go ahead and
It
share.
was, Brenda and Bridget could not be more two different people. Like they are literally night and day. Brenda is the efficient systems. You do this, you do that. Like her kids are, she has 11 kids and her kids are like, and then Bridget is like the, oh, look, it's a butterfly. Oh, yay, this is such a beautiful day. That's how different they are. And they're both fantastic in their own way. But I thought this was beautiful because both of them were there to talk about schedules, routines, systems, how to bring harmony to your home. And it was amazing. It is amazing to hear from Brenda, who has done it and who has raised great kids, and to hear from Bridget, who has a very military husband and who he taught her how to have systems and how to have structure. And she says your home cannot run without it, even being a person who is not naturally inclined to have them. And so I am more so the person who loves systems and who loves routine. I thrive in that environment. And over the last little while, I haven't had very many. And so this was a really good kick in the tush for me to remember, like, if I want to be successful, if I want to like move forward in my business, I'm going to have some boundaries and some rules for myself and for my home, especially if we're going to be going into homeschooling again in the fall. Well, we all get the same 1,440 minutes a day, and it's how we decide to use them that is effective or not. And I don't think I was using a lot of my minutes too effectively. So basically, I wish I had my notebook. I had Kev looking all over the house for it because I couldn't tell you how many notes I wrote and it's just gone. It's literally just disappeared.
Let's hear from some of the other girls that were in there. I always love hearing the takeaways because we all live in different houses and we all run different schedules, and your lack of systems might be someone else's total system, right? Because some of us, the thing of we can start where we are, that's the big deal here. Who else was there? Paige, Brittany? Just unmute and share yours.
I really liked hearing well, there was a couple of things that really resonated with me. And one of them was, you know, people say, like, people are like, how do I get everything done? How do I get everything done in my day? I have this and this and this and this to do. And especially if you don't have a whole lot of help and it's just you, and you can get your kids to do so much, but not everything. And one of the things Brenda said is hire it out, find someone to do it for you. And then the comment was, well, you probably can't afford it. Don't tell me you can't afford it. You put your money towards things that are going to make you money. And I thought that makes sense to me. So if you're spending money for a housekeeper, that means you have time to sit down and actually do your work without worrying about
Grandma, are you
Have-
even in this meeting if you're not?
or you know, whatever the house cleaner does, the toilets or whatever. I kept thinking about our yard work because our yard is so enormous and it's ridiculous and it's on display for everyone because it's on the corner, and the people who lived there before made it really beautiful. So there's a lot of pressure to keep it that way. And I thought, hey, why don't I just hire some teenage boy or girl to come and mow my lawn this summer? And then I don't have to do that. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that really resonated with me. And then I decided that this is the summer that both of my girls are going to learn how to do their own laundry, because there's usually like mountains of laundry for me to do. And I thought I could take away half of our laundry issues and I could get it done in like 3 hours as opposed to 7 days. I'm always doing laundry because they're always trying clothes on and then throwing it on the floor, and I don't know what's clean and what's dirty, so I just throw it in the laundry. But I told them that this summer after camp, they're going to learn how to do that and fold it and put it away themselves. And you know what? I don't think they're mad about it. So it's time, you know, when kids get to a certain age, it's really good to teach them those skills. And I look at Bridget's kids, I look at Brenda's kids because I follow them, and they are amazingly independent and very structured and mature. And
Well,
that's what we want to raise. We want to raise those kinds of kids.
exactly that.
So
A large piece of that is because they were given chores that they didn't know how to do, but they had to figure it out,
right.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's a huge piece of that. Brittany, do you want to share a little bit on what you said there? Prioritize so you can do better for the next generation. I love that. Not sure if you're available to chat, but that makes complete sense. Like you're showing your kids these skills and systems. The next generation, they will have them integrated in them already.
Yeah, so like not everybody grew up with good routines, good schedules, you know, good role models. So we as mothers need to understand and show our kids that it is very important to understand that you will not be able to do it all, but you need to prioritize what your non-negotiables are and get those done and complete so you can show them how to do better in the future and to continue to do better for the generations to come.
Such a good point. There's also consequences to not doing it then, right? If there's consequences, kids learn that. If I don't do that, then something will not happen.
Absolutely, exactly. So I really enjoyed that session with the working this business as a mom, because I know being a mom is a very high priority for me as well as many of you. So it was very eye-opening.
That's wonderful. It does make it a lot more possible for so many moms. Get a grip on your 24 hours. That sounds like Brenda. Very much so. And to make it a family business. Good comment, Kelly. Because the kids get involved, they feel like that they're doing something, right? They're doing it with you. Sheila's girls are like, Mom, when are you bringing that blue one home? Mama, it's a white one. They want that blue jewel and they know what she's working towards, right? It matters to your kids. It matters. In the interest of time, shall we go on and talk a little bit about social media and how Amber talked about that? Man, I'm waiting for that session. I was not in there.
I almost feel like that should be like a whole thing in itself.
Oh,
There-
so
Shelly is nodding and smiling. No, I'm looking
Yeah.
at Shelly and she's nodding because we don't have time for that.
She went through beginners to advanced in like Facebook and Instagram. So we'll sum it up. It was good. It's lots. Pick one thing, meet us back here next week.
And it was, yeah, we can do it for another team call. It brought,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find my notebook. It brought so much clarity and it made social media so much easier because of the clarity.
I think everyone would love that. I think that would be excellent to share that way. And that's the good part about convention is we can take any of those topics and reshare them in a separate sharing thing. All right. Okay. Gosh, there's so many trips coming up with Plexus. So many trips. I'm sitting in the sunshine here. It's really warm. These trips are not who Plexus is, and it's not what they do. They put on these trips for you to build your business. It is a reward, and it's not because there isn't already enough rewards in our generous comp plan when we would build the business according to these contests and get all the rewards that we do for building our business. They don't need to give us trips. Right? Like they don't need to say, oh, here's a cruise. If you work this and this much and you have this and this much growth in your organization, we're going to send you on this free trip. They don't need to do that. Just interesting little piece of FYI, most other companies, in order to earn a trip, you will have to be really essentially a top part of the organization of that company. That is not so at Plexus. And many of you know that even on the cruise last year in November, there was golds there, there was senior golds there, there was even senior silvers there that had earned it. I mean, if that is possible, we can change our mindset about travel and about the things that Plexus offers to us. And so I'm going to beg forgiveness on this piece because when the Jamaican trip came out, I'm confessing here, when the One Love Jamaican thing came out, I was kind of in a different mindset. We were working towards convention contests, and I had this story in my brain that, oh, well, that's a lot, you know, maybe pick one and focus on one and do it well. I still committed to making sure that I was working my business and that I was still growing, and I'm working on bringing in key people that do want to grow. I am one person away from earning Jamaica trip. Now I feel bad. Now I feel like I know it's cool and all that you guys are cheering. That's all good, but I feel bad that I didn't from the beginning focus on this and say, let's do this together. Because when we do it together, it's not as much work because you have the community surrounding you, right? And so learn from my example, even if you are busy, even if it feels like there's a lot to focus on, look at these trips that Plexus is offering. And I'm going to go through the list. Right now, there's 4 on my list. What I love about this is anyone can do these all of them. So if you're looking to travel on 4 different trips in the next year and a bit, number 1, this one, me and Sheila have already earned. We're going to Maui for September Emerald Extravaganza. This event is always Plexus just honoring the jewels. You have to qualify for your rank for a minimum of 5 out of 12 months in order to be going on this trip. And it's usually always been 5 out of 12, which I feel is super generous because Plexus knows that at times our business is growing really fast and at times it kind of folds back, the ebb and flow of growth, right? Okay, so number 2, now coming September, Leaders Retreat contest will begin. This is for the Aruba cruise in February. If you are thinking, man, that would be really cool to go on a winter holiday, take that thought and embellish on it because you can totally earn this whole thing. Cool little fact, July and August people that you will be sponsoring and bringing into Plexus already count for September retention credits. Let's get sponsoring, right? Let's get recruiting, because those are the retention credits that are going to be counting for September already. Yes, I thought that was a super cool piece to keep us going through the summer. All the people that we're bringing in July and August are going to count for September. You're going to open that contest and already have retention credits. Massive bonus. All right. Qualifications for Emerald Extravaganza 2025 is you have to be Emerald by July 31st, 2025, 1,500 points in your organization. Genevieve gave me an interesting little piece of tidbit today. She said, once a person literally decides, I always think of Shelley when she uses this word, decide means to cut off from. What is that ending that you use? It's like to die. Side means die.
Go
And
off.
yeah. So she basically said, once a person actually mentally decides to do this, it takes about 6 to 9 months. Well, you right now have, it is June, so you have 13 months to decide if you're going on that Alaskan cruise. And all of you are well on your way already. So it's not like building 1,500 points. So I could sponsor someone today and have them be Emerald by next year, May. It's not impossible. It is very doable. When a person decides, and you guys saw that at convention on stage as well, 6 to 9 months is the average time to get that momentum rolling. And so we can do that. Alaskan cruise, seriously been such a bucket list item for me for such a long time. It will be amazing. Paige has already decided. Boom. So good. And then convention in Dallas, Texas next year. I vote that we start a list of 100 and get 100 people there. Wouldn't that be cool? Like if we start a list now already, I'm already registered. I'm committed. We're going. If we start a list now already and start plugging in our names, there is something about putting your name on a commitment list and saying, I am doing this. For anyone that says, I cannot afford it, I'm like Brenda. Sorry, that one doesn't qualify. Let's go make that money. Plus, you can put away $100, $150 a month, and you will have more than enough starting now to be there with us in Dallas, Texas for convention. So list of 100 coming up. I feel like that's just like crazy amazing. 4 trips in a year. Even if you are not a traveler, do not let that hold you back. Do not think, oh, we've never done something like that. I am living proof that you can go from someone who was a little homebody that didn't go on a holiday once a year, once every 5 years, to traveling where I know where my next trip is before I'm back from the previous one. And it is incredible to be given that privilege because of the fact that you have been helping people and transforming other people's lives. That's a huge, huge, huge reward that Plexus gives us. Quick recap on every year after an event, Plexus gets the diamonds together the morning after, and we have a little bit of a debriefing time. We're given a little bit of details of what is going on in Plexus and where they're planning to focus on and where we're going. And so Gene had some super sweet facts that he just kind of threw out at us and said, hey, guess where Plexus is globally in the direct selling industry in the world? What number is Plexus? And we were like, okay, globally, that's pretty big. Like that's a big deal. And people really didn't want to say a number because you could be like over optimistic or under optimistic, right? And he's like 29. Guys, in the world, we are number 29. And we're open in 4 countries. We're not even counting New Zealand. That's incredible. That is really, really incredible. And then he said, okay, let's narrow it down. Where is Plexus in the direct sales agencies in the USA? And we are number 19, which is fabulous because there's companies like Melaleuca, like Amway, companies that are like decades, years old. They have been here for a very long time and established long time growth and have been $1 billion company for a very long time already. And so that really propels us into a place of being super relevant. All of these things are pointing towards us being a household name. The other piece of this where he said again, times are hard, the economy is showing it. Do not allow that to hold you back to think that, oh, people are not going to be wanting to build a business right now. Quite the contrary, quite the contrary. Ramona, you can find those facts on the DSA network website somewhere, but they're all on there. Plexus is on there too. Actually, I do think that I did share about it in a chat somewhere. And so, oh, where was I going with that? He talked about companies staying relevant, and he talked about other companies that are just folding and closing the doors. So Q Sciences left. Amari has been acquired by Aravita, so they have a new CEO, which means that they had to bring in more investors again to keep the water out of their boat, basically. You will see these companies doing big things, but it's because they're using debt in order to try and grow out of this bad economy. And again, he came back and he said, you know, we don't need to do that. We get to make choices. We don't have to make choices. Plexus has always been saving for a rainy day, and we are financially sound. Alec and Tarl have set us up, and he said that rainy day hasn't come yet. We're in a good place to keep on going. I mean, look at what they're doing. The events that they put on, the trips that they're giving, they are not cutting corners. They are really encouraging people to build good, solid, strong businesses. So just a little bit, the other pieces of what I'm going to be remembering when I read my notes, I'm going to share here and there in a chat when I think of it. Okay, last question. I really, for you guys that were at convention and for you that were crying tears that you couldn't be there, I know it sucks missing out. It really is hard to miss out. We wanted you there as much as what you wanted to come. But I really want to ask you, what is your return on investment? You invested to spend the money to come. You bought the flight ticket. You bought the room. The food was atrociously expensive. And the time was so much fun. Just being together. I heard so many comments about our team sitting in the hallway because we literally could not find a place to sit. So we sat in a hallway where it was a little bit quieter and we could actually talk to each other. Yeah, it was only $9 for a bottle of water, like no biggie. I'm not thirsty after all. Like things are drinking gold. Yes, it is. But I really want you to focus on what is your return on investment? You invested this. You received an experience. All these sessions were poured into you. Shelley, I skipped you. I'm so sorry. We were going to talk about Jay Barriott.
No, we can do that another time. It was good. Let's just do this. This is really important, I think. Yeah.
Okay. There is something about coming home and being excited, but there is something about coming home and understanding that this is on my desk. Now I get to choose what to do with it. What am I going to change? Because it's easy to walk into your house, do the same schedule, fall into the same habits, and 3 months later, you're like, dang, I really was going to change, and I really was going to work on my habits or change my work habits, and I really was going to work on my mindset, right? What are we going to do now that we have spent this money, that we have been invested in? What are we going to do starting like yesterday with that investment? What return is that going to bring you? So it'll be hard changing those habits. Changing habits is never easy. Even we talked about introducing Restore. You're adding something to your subconscious. You want that to become a good thing. So what are you putting down on your commitment list to say, this investment that I put down is going to pay itself forward? It is going to be the thing that we have invested in that will be growing. You have planted these seeds. What is going to be growing? So I'm going to leave that with you because I feel like this was of my very favorite conventions. It was just I don't know, you couldn't put a finger on it, but it was a vibe that everybody was giving. We're here for the right reasons. We want to do this. We're going and we're doing, right? And so I feel like we're so ready for this. I just want you to feel that you are capable and you have everything that you need. Anybody else want to add something to that? I love what Paige said, because that, I feel like that deserves just like applause. When we recognize that shift, and I've heard it from multiple people saying, I just had a massive shift mentally, emotionally, and the determination that comes with that, right? If your why is strong enough, you're going to figure out the how. And so we're here to do the how with you. And guess what? I'm still figuring out things. We all are. That's life. It's never going to be easy. Yes, you will see yourself differently after. I love that. I love what Brittany shared the other day in our chat as well, that she felt this within her, that she had come back a different person and ready to actually just tackle this, right? And so it's growth. Thank you all for being here. I love doing this with you. Thank you all for coming. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, guys.